Hello, hello. I hope everybody has had a wonderful week. We had hello Chalupa, our first walkthrough this week. It was very exciting. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing, sweetheart? I have my adult beverage, my Angry Orchard right here with me. And Chalupa is, of course, wanting in my lap. Why is it that always happens? And here comes Tamale. Anyway, okay, I have a very weird question to ask you guys before we get all started. I don't know if this has happened to anyone else. Hey there, Shakira, how are you? I'm not sure if I said your name right, and if I didn't, I am so very sorry. I have a Roku TV. Well, at least I have like one of those little stick things attached to the TV in the bedroom. And I don't know about you, but I actually sleep listening. You're going to laugh at this, listening to scary stories on YouTube. That's what I fall asleep to, and it just like relaxes me, ghost stories and stuff. That's just what I do. Anyway, the volume on it like stopped working a couple of weeks ago, and we have a universal remote also. I don't even know how we got that thing to work, that we have connected to it. And so I was using that as the volume. Well, this morning when I woke up, it's like neither remote, nothing happens at all. And my husband sleeps much later than I do, so couldn't exactly, get him to look at anything. So he managed to come home in between shifts. So like when he's awake and stuff, because after when he woke up this morning, that is just not going to happen. Then he doesn't have enough time because he's got to get to work. Hey there, Delta, how you doing? And so anyway, I knew when this whole Roku fiasco happened, it was like, okay, we're going to need to have both of ourselves here because I'm going to need to be reading what to do. You're going to need to be doing whatever it is, whatever these steps are, because I'm just not going to deal with all of it on my own. Well, we tried everything. Nothing worked. So I guess, I don't know what the new thing is called, Roku Express or some other crap, but basically some kind of upgraded Roku thing. So I ordered it through Amazon and it should be here tomorrow, but I don't know if anybody else has ever had that experience. And it was just really annoying. So tomorrow I'll have a new Roku thing and I'll let you know how it goes. Hey, Laura, how you doing? Okay. Got to put the glasses on and take a sippy poo. So last week, I talked to you guys about the income disclosure statement. Well, we're still going to talk about that because it's important. But we're going to talk about some other things, and I'm not going to repeat what I did last week, basically. And just so that you know, the people who were on the steering committee for the conference that was held, like in April, the beginning of April and May, we meet, like once a month, and we communicate other times too. And this past Thursday we had a meeting and we discussed the business opportunity rule and basically kind of percolating up what we're going to do, because we know that the MLMs, the DSA, and all of that. You like your Roku Express? Oh, good to know. So I hope it's easy to install, because if it's not, oh my gosh, I'm going to need like shots of Fireball and I don't know, an ambulance to calm me down or something. But anyway, so we know that the MLM industry, if you will, is going to expect that since there are all of these voices, this, army of voices speaking out against the industry, when the business opportunity rule is open again for comments, they're going to expect us to have a bunch of people commenting, because they know that we will amass our army. Now, the last time that this was looked at, back in 2011, which everything started in, I think, 2006, they had over 17,000 comments from people who are pro MLM. And there was like 128, something like that, of people who were, speaking reason and saying there's problems with this. That's why it's so important for us to keep talking about it. And that's why I'm going to keep talking about it, because we need to be prepared. And not only when you comment, are we going to say, hey, and kind of like, here's a form, kind of like a plug and play comment that you can kind of make your own, but include these points. but also to send that to you if you're in the States, your congressperson and representative. Is like, just kind of getting more awareness out there. So those are some things that we talked about. So today, what I'm going to share with you, one is the form that the MLM reps were being asked to give to people if this rule, went through. Like, this is basically what they were going to have to do. And they were all like, oh, no, that would require work. And oh my gosh, identity theft, horror of horrors, throwing up, these blockades and all of that. Well, the thing is that, technology has changed. So a lot of what they're asking, in my opinion, and I'm going to want you to tell me what you think, how you think that companies and individual reps could deal with this, could really be handled since they all have like their own replicated website or whatever. There could very easily be somewhere to click on that where this information is available. And that's how they would be able to share it. I think it would be so much easier than what, they claimed at that time. You know what I mean? So here you go. So where did I want to start? Let me look at some things. Get myself a little bit together here. Okay, I think I'm going to start with the Federal Register, something from that, and we're going to look at that because the business opportunity rule was kind of like birthed after there was a rule about franchises. And you know how MLMs or like some of the reps like to compare what they do to a franchise, and it's like, go sell those papers elsewhere because that's just not going to work because it's not the case. So let me share this with you guys. Bada boom, bada bing. This is where I'm going. I feel like such a mess right now. It's been a day. All right. So I'm just going to look at this part. We'll see how far, we go down this little rabbit hole because this is a long document. And let me get my voice going. Okay. Much of the information revealed by the Commission's regulatory review of the original franchise rule highlighted the differences between franchises and business opportunity ventures and the distinct regulatory challenges presented by these two types of offerings. The franchises typically are expensive and involve complex contractual licensing relationships, while business opportunity sales are generally less costly and involve comparatively simple purchase agreements that pose less of a financial risk to purchasers. Based on the record amassed during the review proceeding, the Commission concluded that the original franchise rule's extensive disclosure requirements imposed unnecessary compliance costs on both business opportunity sellers and buyers, and determined to bifurcate the original franchise rule into two separate parts, one covering the sale of business format franchises and one to govern the sale of business opportunities. Accordingly, in the ANPR, and I can't remember what that acronym stands for, but it has something to do with the business opportunity rule, the Commission solicited comment on several proposed regulatory modifications, including the creation of a separate trade regulation rule governing the sale of business opportunities. Subsequently, the Commission completed all procedural steps prescribed by Section 18 of the FTC Act to finalize the amended franchise rule, along with a statement of basis and purpose in March of 2007. At that time, the amended franchise rule, no longer covering business opportunities, was codified at Part 436, entitled 16 of the CFR. The original franchise rule, with all definitional elements and references regarding business format franchising deleted, was retained and redesigned as Part 437. Part 437 was titled the Interim Business Opportunity Rule. The Interim Business Opportunity Rule contained no new substantive disclosure requirements or prohibitions, and in all material respects was substantially identical to the original franchise rule until the final rule becomes effective. Part 437 governs sales of non-franchise business opportunities. Okay, let me see. Where is it that it states? All right. So this is the business opportunity rule proposed to require sellers to use the exact form and language set forth by the commission and to include information regarding the seller, earnings claims, legal actions involving the offered business and its key personnel, the existence of cancellation or refund policies, the number of cancellation or refund requests, and references. In response to the INPR, the commission received more than 17,000 comments, the overwhelmingly majority of which came from individuals active in the MLM industry, MLM companies, their representatives, and trade associations, as well as individual participants in various MLM plans expressed grave concern about the burdens of the IPBOR would impose on them and urged the commission to exclude them from the scope of the IPBOR, to implement various safe harbor provisions, and to reduce the required disclosures. The commission also received approximately 187 comments, primarily from individual consumers or consumer groups in favor of the IPBOR. That would be like people like us. Only a handful of comments came from non-MLM companies and industry groups expressing various concerns about obligations that the IPBOR would impose upon them. None of the comments addressed the form of the initial proposed disclosure document. Okay. So I'm not going to go into the rest of that, but this is basically the form that they were saying this is what people are going to have to fill out. So this is what you have. The name of the seller, their address, phone number, salesperson, date. I think this could easily be amended to the name of the MLM company, the person who is the, I guess, rep or whatever. And I almost feel like, instead of like putting anything, well, you would put the name, I guess, the address and phone number of the company. But in terms of the rep, social media handles, to me, that would make sense, because this whole thing about identity theft, you can get around that with social media, I would think. What do you guys think about that? What is your opinion of it? So this goes on to say, blank has completed this form, which provides important information about the business opportunity it is offering you. The Federal Trade Commission, an agency of the federal government, requires that blank complete this form and give it to you. However, the Federal Trade Commission has not seen this completed form or checked if the information is true. Make sure that this information is the same as what the salesperson told you about this opportunity. Legal actions has blank, insert name of the MLM company or any of its key personnel, been the subject of a civil or criminal action, including any FTC rule involving misrepresentation, fraud, securities, law violation, or unfair or deceptive practices, including any FTC rule within the past 10 years. Oh, thank you, Dave. Social media handles, great idea. Yep, I think so. And so then it's yes or no. If the answer is yes, must attach a list of the legal actions to this form. Again, if this is all, online, they would just have a list of what those actions are. And I would say linked out to those legal documents as well, so that somebody could actually go and read about this stuff and not just like, oh, Sally Sue said this is such a great idea to sell this coffee. Everybody in the world needs to sell this coffee. actually give people that opportunity to look at it critically, which the MLM companies don't want people to do that because it's all about that, that FOMO, fear of missing out. Get you to take action right now. ACTION, action, action. We want action, that sort of thing, Okay. Cancellation or refund policy. Does blank, insert name of that company, offer a cancellation or refund policy? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, must attach a statement describing this policy to this form. Again, link to what that is. I think that's really, really simple. So all of them deflecting about like, oh my gosh, this is just too much work. You would expect me to do all of this horror of horrors. Please. I don't think so. Things are different now, and it could be made much simpler. Okay. Earnings has blank. Insert the name of the MLM company or its salesperson discussed how much money purchasers of this business opportunity can earn or have earned. In other words, had they stated or implied that purchasers can earn a specific level of sales income or profit? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then must attach earnings claim statement to this form. Read this statement carefully. You may wish to show this information to an advisor or an accountant. Wow, what a brilliant thing. Have somebody who knows something about finances look at that. I mean, I think that all of these companies should provide income disclosure statements and not the kind of BS we see right now. Because the crap that we see right now, it's like a Rubik's Cube on acid. And you're trying to figure out what in the world all of this actually means because they vomit a bunch of numbers on there in a nonsensical way that you got to really stop and think and be like, okay, what is this actually saying? Because, okay, I have a video coming out next week about the IM Academy income disclosure statement. And they have these different earnings of the top 1%, the top 10%, the top 20%, 50%. But then they have all these other different numbers underneath there, which don't even match. So it's like, well, what good is that? What is this percentage anyway? And they don't even tell you how many's in each of these percentages. It's just like, you don't even tell me how many people are in the network or were in the network at the time that this income disclosure was even created. They leave so much out where you have to use your imagination. And so what I've done is I picked a number and used that number and broke it down into percentages based on the number that I picked to just do the math so that people can see just a sliver of 1% makes anything worthwhile. If they want it to be considered as a business, they need to act like one and fill out the form. Not that they are a real business. Well, true, they're not a real business, but the companies tell them they are. And then, that is just repeated in the echo chamber about being a business owner. And you're so not. Anyway, so the earnings would be, that would be there. And I really do think that people need more information, not less. Right now, people are just joining at the whim, or they're feeling desperate, or like me, it's like I knew someone that they said they were making bank. And I'm like, well, damn, if she can do that, I can. I mean, I can figure crap out. I'll be able to do this. Yeah, that happened. Okay. Next section, references. In this section below, blank must provide you with contact information for at least 10 people who have purchased a business opportunity from them. If fewer than 10 are listed, this is a total of all purchasers. You may wish to contact the people below to compare their experiences with what blank told you about the business opportunity. Note, if you purchase a business opportunity from blank, your contact information can be disclosed in the future to other potential buyers. Again, you don't need to give a phone number and stuff, social media handles. But the problem with this is, and I'm trying to figure out how would this work? because they're going to want to put down all the people at the tippy top that are making bank that can go like, yeah, it's just absolutely fabulous. I am just making so much money. It's crazy, girl. You gotta hop on board this train. That would happen. So I don't know how that would be avoided. And then I have to think about so if they give out social media handles, and if it's these top people, what would prevent them from hiring, some kind of little assistant that would run the account, and if people sent messages, would be responding with some BS answer? I mean, there'd be some shadiness going on, I would think. What do you think? Do you think there'd be shade going on, just all kinds of sneaky snakes? Because I think they'd be wiggling and hissing all kinds of stuff that would be a bunch of bunk, And then you sign it. By signing the above, you are acknowledging that you have received this form. This is not a purchase contract. To give you enough time to research this opportunity, the Federal Trade Commissions require that after you receive this form, blank must wait at least 7 calendar days before asking you to sign a purchase contract or make any payments. Now, here's the thing. It's going to happen with this, because especially around bonus time and stuff for, insert MLM name, people are running around like crazy dogs, just like looking for anyone and everyone to buy their poop, because they're trying to hit their bonus, or they're trying to hit this, or you're trying to maintain your rank. It's going to be just a flurry of oh my God, now what? And that 7 days could definitely, put a crunch in on that when they have a time that something needs to be in. But I guess that just means they would have to figure things out earlier rather than later of how they're going to handle all that. Yes, they definitely find ways to play with that 10 referrals game, but it would be pretty easy to catch the lies, and people would be in a better mindset to ask for proof. Absolutely agree. I think, because you know what? They'd be having some kind of Zoom calls with this stuff about, come and ask these 10 people the questions you have, or some bullshit. That would be good. There would be jank going on, because let's just face it, when it comes to this type of business, and I'm using that very loosely and sarcastically, all kinds of jank is happening. It's just, that's what it's all about. It's all of it is how can we keep the truth hidden for as long as possible, so that these people have no idea what's actually going on. And if you saw my interview with Robert Fitzpatrick this week, that I think I released it yesterday, we talked about how people get to the top, and oftentimes people are placed in particular positions. Now, Hannah Martin, whose blog is The Talented Ladies Club, which I'm also interviewing her tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to her more about this. She had an article come out this week that was about the same kind of topic. So it's very interesting that just across this industry in general, there's all kinds of lying and deception going on at multiple levels. From the down here, you just started out, you have no clue what's going on, but you're flexing as if you're suddenly, making bank. And then someone at the top also doing things to make it appear as if it's something that it's not. And that's just a little bit of a problem. I'm glad you enjoyed the interview with Robert. Thank you, Lori. Thank you so much. Alrighty, so the next thing. All right. Now, this is from John Taylor. You can see it's submitted by the Consumer Awareness Institute. And let me see. Why these? Okay, should I read all of this to you guys, this first page? Do you want me to read all of it? So if you want me to read all of it, just put all or put yes or say something, because I think there was a part that I was going to read, but I can read all of it. How many pages is this? It's not that long. And then he has this other stuff about the representations, because there's so much stuff you guys do. Okay. All right. If I trip over my words, I'm human, sometimes I don't pronounce things correctly. I mean, if you guys actually heard me recording stuff of how many times I have to redo particular sections, and, you'd be laughing. All right. A setback for consumers. The March announcement by the FTC that a revised business opportunity rule would exempt MLM multi-level marketing programs is a tragic setback for consumers, a stark capitulation to the MLM industry lobbied by the DSA Direct Selling Association, and a reversal, of course, by the FTC in carrying out its mission to protect consumers from unfair trade practices. Instead, officials have chosen to yield to political pressures and exempt the worst of all classes of fraudulent business opportunities from its proposed rule. I do understand the realities of political influence and why FTC officials would give deference to the powerful and well-financed MLM lobby, including former high-level FTC officials, over a handful of us spokesmen for consumers, all of whom are donating our time to advocate for consumers. The foregoing also were able to appeal to literally millions of victims locked into pyramid and endless chain selling schemes for comments to defeat the original bill, getting over 17,000 to submit spoon-fed comments, while we have difficulty getting victims to submit comments for reasons explained below. Now, I'm hoping that this time around, people will be more willing to speak out. I mean, pause crossed, all of that. Section 5, not much protection. Falling back on Section 5 of the FTC Act to deal with unfair and deceptive practices offers no assurance to consumer advocates that things will improve. Since the 1979 finding by an FTC judge that Amway was not a pyramid scheme subject to rules to assure an emphasis on retail sales, thousands of MLMs have come and gone, and several hundred remain. The retail rules have been blatantly disregarded, and tens of millions of MLM participants worldwide have been victimized, experiencing hundreds of billions of dollars in aggregate losses worldwide. Let me explain how I came up with these numbers. MLMs based on 30 typical misrepresentations. Typically, MLM features recruitment of an endless chain of participants who are the primary or only customers. It is an infinitely expanding program in a finite population. As such, MLM is a business model that is inherently flawed, uneconomic, and fraudulent, dependent on a complex web of deceptions. From 14 years of research and consumer advocacy, I have identified 30 typical misrepresentations used in MLM recruitment campaigns. See Appendix A. That means that virtually every recruit into an MLM program is a victim to the degree that she purchased products based on these deceptions. This is why a rule requiring meaningful disclosure is such a vital protection for consumers. Why the silence of MLM victims? The original Business Opportunity Rule proposal reported that in 2005, the FTC had received 17,858 complaints, placing it among the leading categories of complaints. Actually, this is a gross underestimate of the harm by MLM. These statistics fail to recognize that victims of endless chain selling, a key feature of MLMs programs, almost never file complaints. Less than 1 in 500 victims based on my research. Why? A major reason is that in every endless chain, every major victim is a perpetrator, recruiting to have any hope of recouping initial and ongoing costs. So we see fear of self-incrimination and fear of consequences from or to those in their upline or downline, those they recruited or who recruited them, often close friends and relatives, and many blame themselves for their losses as they are taught that any failure is their fault for not working the system. Another reason for the silence of victims is the inaction of law enforcement. Recruits are told that if the program was an illegal pyramid scheme, it would have been stopped long ago. But in law enforcement, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So no complaints, no action by law enforcement. Conversely, no regulatory action. No complaints by victims. It's a vicious cycle. This is why you need to let your story be told and write to the FTC, file that complaint. They have got to hear your voice. If you are afraid of doing that, file it with Tina, Truth in Advertising. But I urge you to do it with the FTC so that we can get this stack of complaints on each and every single one of these companies that is ripping people off left, right, and center and destroying lives every single day. It's up to you to do it. I can sit here and come on here and do live streams. I can do recorded videos, as can other creators, but we need you to take action, to join forces with us. Find that courage inside of you and say, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm putting it out there. That's the only thing that we can do is be loud and not stop. Get noisy and tell people what you experienced. Otherwise, it's going to be more of the same. More of us pointing out how awful it is and people losing out. So just saying. I'm a little bit passionate about it. Can you tell? All right, moving on. Need to take a sippy poo. Amount of MLM damage underestimated. Multiply 17,858 complaints by 500 to get the minimum number of victims, and you get 8,929,000 victims worldwide. Almost 9 million who bought MLM products based on at least some of the typical misrepresentation. Almost 9 million. I believe this is not an exaggeration since the DSA reported 15.2 million persons engaged in direct sales in 2006. Most of them doing MLM and nearly all exposed to similar deceptions when recruited. Multiply $46 million in damage reported by the FTC in 2005 by a factor of at least 500, and you get $23 billion in participant losses per year, which I feel is a realistic minimum since the DSA reported $32 billion in direct sales in 2006, mostly from MLM. Multiply a more conservative average of $10 billion by 20 years, and you have a minimum of over $200 billion in MLM participant losses worldwide in the last 20 years. Worldwide. Because these chains quickly spread from state to state and from country to country as market, not total, saturation sets in. These estimates, or even a tenth of them, would easily place MLM fraud far above all other classes of business opportunity fraud combined. Let that sink in. History of FTC use of Section 5. As to the assurance that FTC officials can use Section 5 to deal with unfair and deceptive practices, let's look at the history. Those of us who have studied MLMs for many years know that the number of MLMs that have come and gone since the 1979 Amway decision number in the thousands. Considering the few actions taken against MLMs, less than 1% of product-based pyramid schemes have been investigated by the FTC. Does the FTC have the resources to investigate thousands of fraudulent MLMs? Even the several hundred that have managed to survive? Not likely. A proven model for differentiating legitimate direct selling from fraudulent recruiting MLMs. After years of research, including consultation with top experts in the field, not financed by the MLM industry, I developed a model for differentiating legitimate direct selling programs from exploitive recruiting MLMs that reward recruitment over retail sales or product-based pyramid schemes. A summary version of the report, 5 Red Flags. That's what appears at the beginning of every single one of my videos are these 5 red flags. 5 causative and defining characteristics of recruiting MLMs or product-based pyramid schemes was presented to the Economic Crime Summit Conference in 2002 and 2004. These factors are causative in that taken together, they cause the harm, and they are defining because they clearly differentiate between legitimate businesses and the exploitative pyramid scheme. See Appendix B. This model has been tested by applying it to all MLMs for which data on average income participants was available. In every case, when all 5 red flags were found in an MLM compensation plan, as is found in nearly all MLMs, the percentage of participants losing money was approximately 99%. When all participants were counted, including dropouts and costs of required purchases to qualify for commissions and advancement up to pay levels, and minimal operating expenses were subtracted, the loss rate is closer to 99.9%. The odds are far better in Las Vegas. This kind of information should be disclosed. If a disclosure rule were needed for any class of business, MLM is it. Can Section 5 be used for hundreds of MLMs? I have analyzed the compensation plans of over 250 MLMs, see Appendix C, and find these 5 factors in all of them. An FTC rule is needed to require MLMs to reveal average income data and attrition rates, or they should be investigated by the FTC based on these extraordinary loss rates, which are based on their own reports. Officials should not wait for a large number of complaints to come in, as by the time enormous damage will continue to be suffered by participants, victims who, as explained above, almost never file complaints. Does the FTC have the resources to investigate 250 MLM programs for which there is good evidence that they are illegal pyramid schemes? Not if FTC enforcement history is any indication. A business opportunity rule that requires meaningful disclosure would be far more manageable. The revised rule is meaningless. So to what types of opportunities does the revised business opportunity rule apply if MLM is exempt? Vending machines, work from home, envelope stuffing, car wash packages. These kinds of opportunities may have been a problem decades ago. But as one who has followed the business opportunity field for 35 years, I can tell you that these business opportunity packages are trivial compared to the fraudulent MLM schemes today. The current scam of choice for con artists is MLM. Let me read that again. The current scam of choice for con artists is MLM. I want you to think about people who were those top leaders in whatever MLM you were in, or if you are in. Think about them. Think about the messages that they're sending out. Whose interests are they looking for? Are they really looking to help people? Are these companies looking to help the world as they purport, and to help people with financial freedom, time freedom? Or is that all just a ruse, a cunning attempt to deflect everybody from the truth? And the truth of the matter is, very few people make any money. And there are a few characters, and I did do a video a while back about the growth conference of Business for Home. And if you're not familiar with Business for Home, Teddy Boy owns that. And it's all of those people, those top people. And I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. Everybody calling these stay-at-home mom scammers are full of it. Those are not the scammers. It's these top dogs that are going around at all these events, stroking each other, having a circle jerk. Those are the con artists. Those are the ones causing the harm. Go to Business for Home. The banner is still there. It has all of these people's names. And there's more. There's a lot of people listed there. These are the people paying Ted to make it look as if they're legitimate. And all they're doing is dipping into other people's pockets. And then you add to that all the con artists in the personal development industry and the coaches and all of that. And it is just disgusting. It's a cesspool of deception. I don't have any passion for it. Okay. Scrap the rule altogether. Based on the foregoing, my strong recommendation would be that if MLM is exempt from the rule, it would be best to scrap the proposed business opportunity rule altogether. A bad rule or a rule exempting its most important application is worse than no rule at all. Here's why. Based on observing their prior behavior, MLM promoters, including DSA spokesmen, will find ways to turn this revised rule to their advantage. They will likely say that MLM was not included in the business opportunity rule because MLM is a legitimate business model, an ill-informed assumption, and that their programs are not pyramid schemes, but legitimate direct selling opportunities. And they will continue to defraud a revolving door of millions of recruits who become MLM victims. And what has happened in this 10-year time period? Exactly what John Taylor said. And if nothing is done this time around, it's going to happen again. If you're not familiar with Vima and how Alex Morton, little punk, came out and got all of these college kids to get into Vima Verve and ripped all these people off, which now Vima was shut down for being a pyramid scheme. And he's now over at I Am Academy, getting more young boys involved in this bullshit. Him and David Emaniti, however you say his last name, I'm not saying it right. And then Bryce Thompson, who's like 24. If you think they are not twisting these young men's minds, you got another thing coming. Because this will continue happening to the younger generation because of people like Alex Morton. They've already got them in their sights. We don't need it. This is why your voice, your story, your reporting is so damn important. And when this is open for the public to comment, you need to get off your ass and do something. Write your senators, write your representatives, make your comments, do all of that. We have got to be united on this. Otherwise, it's going to be the same shit all over again, just 10 more years of it. And I really don't want to see that happen. If history is a repeat of itself, then that's what we have to look forward to, is just, all of us sitting around and bitching about how awful this is and people not taking enough action because they have been scared into silence by their upline, by the companies, by the leaders, by all these jerks. Put on your big boy and big girl britches and do the right thing and share your story. Tell the truth. Tell the truth about these things. Don't let these companies get away with this bullshit. Don't let them do this to your children. Don't let them do this to your grandchildren. Don't let them do this to your future children. Don't let it happen. It's got to stop. And we only are going to have as much power with as many voices as we can get behind this. Conclusion. The revised business opportunity rule is changed in ways that defeat the whole purpose of the rule. The companies that most need to disclose information, MLMs, are excluded, and those with far less need for disclosure or regulation are included. Section C is an inefficient tool for regulating hundreds of rapidly spreading programs that feature an endless chain of participants as primary customers, victims. Having capitulated to the politically powerful DSA MLM lobby, which serves its members to the detriment of consumers, I strongly believe the FTC should scrap this proposed rule altogether. Later, in a more consumer-friendly political environment, an MLM-specific rule can be introduced. Also, turnabout is fair play. The DSA got the original comment period extended to contact massive pyramids of participants to submit objections to the rule. Please do the same for those advocating for consumers. Extend the comment period on the revised rule for 30 days. We are financing our pro-consumer efforts out of our own pockets, so it takes time away from other things for us to appeal to others to comment. Sincerely, John M. Taylor, PhD, President, Consumer Awareness Institute, an advisor to Pyramid Scheme Alert. This is why we need to speak out. You can choose to just sit back, not say anything, or to go ahead and open your mouth. It's that simple. You can just let, all the creators on social media who are speaking out, let them just be the voice, or you can join in the chorus and make it louder. And we need it to be loud. We need it to just reverberate around the world that we are mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, that we're done with this crap. That's what we need to do. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of these. Would you like me to read the misrepresentations to you? Let me know if you'd like me to read the misrepresentations and put yes or the misrepresentation or something in the, the little chat so I know you want to hear about it. Let me know. I may need another drink, though. Dave, you're so right. We don't have John, but we can make him proud. Yeah, I so wish I knew John. I so wish I had the pleasure of knowing this man. But I'm fortunate to know others. And I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate your support more than you will ever know, because, John says about out of our own pockets. I spend a lot of time doing the research I do and then putting the videos together, which I enjoy doing that. Don't get me wrong. I do enjoy doing it, but it takes a lot. It takes every single one. It takes a lot. And so I do it because people have got to know about this stuff, but I need you guys to join forces. You gotta, open your mouths. When the time comes and I let you know, like, this is what you need to say, here's the stuff, you got to do it. Don't just sit on your ass and be like, oh yeah, well, other people will do it. No, we got to get up and show that we are strong. Not only are we strong across all the social media platforms, but we can get people to take action. That's what we need. Okay. Misrepresentation. Presented as a great income opportunity with huge incomes reported for many. The naked truth. Recruiting MLMs nearly always lead to certain loss for new recruits. A few are at the top of the pyramid of participants are enriched at the expense of a multitude of downline participants, about 99% of whom lose money. Everyone can do this and earn a good income. Holding up top earners as examples of what others can do is deceptive. It is unfair to sell tickets when, for nearly everyone, the ship has left the port. Average earning statements on official reports make MLMs appear highly profitable. Reports on average incomes are full of deceptions. Example, 20 on one page for Nu Skin's report of actual average incomes. See report of violations of the FTC order for Nu Skin to cease misrepresenting earnings of distributors. Products can be resold at retail prices for a handsome profit. Products are high priced and sold primarily to recruits to do the business rather than to persons outside the network of participants. Presented as a legitimate business, not a pyramid scheme, product-based pyramid schemes have been found to be most extreme of all the types of pyramid schemes, with the highest loss rate, approximately 99%, far worse than for no product schemes, or even than most games of chance in casinos. Work for only an hour or two a day and build up a residual income that will allow you the time freedom to quit your job and spend more time with your family to do whatever you want. To profit from a recruiting MLM, one must work long hours and be willing to continue to recruit to replace dropouts. One must also be willing to deceive large numbers of recruits into believing it is a legitimate income opportunity. Recruits are only fattening their upline's commissions. And is there anything immoral about hard work for honest rewards? The job market is not secure. The stock market is even shakier. MLM offers a much more secure and permanent residual income. MLM is far more risky than either the stock market or the job market. It even makes gambling look like a safe investment by comparison. Residual income for almost all MLM recruits is a myth. Standard jobs are not rewarded fairly. In MLM, you can set your own standard for earnings. Fair? Most MLM compensation plans are weighted heavily towards those who got in early or scrambled to get to the top of a pyramid of participants. If not legal, the program would have been shut down long ago. MLMs have survived legal challenges. The fact that they are still around tells you they are legitimate. Consumer protection officials are reactive, not proactive. Since victims rarely file complaints, law enforcement seldom acts against even the worst schemes. Victims don't complain because they blame themselves and they fear self-incrimination or consequences from or to their upline or downline. If you fail at this program, it is because you fail to properly work the system. The system itself is inherently flawed. An endless chain recruitment of participants as primary customers. The vast majority will always lose money. In any business, one must invest time and money to be successful. Commented MLM participants may continue investing thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars over many years before running out of money or giving up. The more one invests in time, money, and effort, the more she loses unless willing to deceive enough people to rise to the top of the pyramid of victims. In legitimate companies, salespersons are not expected to Stock up on inventory or subscribe to monthly purchases. But in recruiting MLMs, incentivized purchases required to participate in commissions and or advancement are often merely disguised or laundered investments in a pyramid scheme. An MLM company report of actual income of distributors may boast that 0.16% of active distributors have achieved the level of whatever the top income level. This is made to appear to be respectable odds of success. See the book, How to Lie with Statistics. When statistics are presented without deception, the opportunity is not so attractive. The 0.16% or 0.16% or odds of 0.0016 and all who signed up should be factored in. But MLMs eliminate dropouts in their statistics, a huge deception. With less than 10% remaining after 5 years, the number should be reduced by 90%. This leaves odds of 0.00016 of reaching the top level where the money is made. This looks far worse than 0.16%. MLM is the wave of the future. In fact, our MLM is experiencing phenomenal worldwide growth, etc. So get in on the ground floor of this great growth opportunity. MLMs have been saying this for 20 years, but MLM still accounts for less than 0.5% of consumer purchases, in spite of the fact that the number of MLM companies has numbered in the thousands. MLMs come and go, as do new recruits, 99% of whom drop out. Long-term MLM growth is a myth. Saturation never happens. Turnover, as in any business, is a reality that assures an ample supply of available prospects. Note, the issue is not total saturation, as MLM apologists suggest, but market saturation. In a town of 10,000 people, the notion of 10,000 distributors to serve them is absurd. With real customers, MLM products are sold by recruiting a revolving door of new distributors who buy products to do the business. And since people perceive the opportunity as dwindling with each new distributor, market saturation requires promoters to recruit elsewhere. So MLMs quickly evolve into Ponzi schemes requiring the opening of new markets and or new product divisions to repay earlier investors, as happened with Amway, now Quixar, and Nu Skin, which became IDN, then Big Planet and Pharmanex. It's not turnover, but continuous churning of new recruits to replace dropouts. The demand for these MLM products are growing at a rapid rate. They literally sell themselves. The sale of products is distributor-driven, not market-driven. Most products are sold to new participants to get in on this ground floor opportunity. It takes time to build any business. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but a get-rich-slow program. Don't expect instant success, etc. MLM promoters sell recruits on their programs as a business, but defend it to authorities as direct selling opportunity. However, in legitimate direct sales programs, salespersons earn commissions right away and don't have to wait months or years for commissions to exceed expenses. Take advantage of momentum and windows of opportunity. Again, this kind of appeal has been used for 20 years. In any endless chain scheme, the momentum cannot continue indefinitely, leaving those who come in later in a lost position, which is approximately 99% of recruits. In this new MLM program, you can be the master of your destiny. You will be a slave to the phone, to meeting the qualifications for commissions and bonuses, and to continual pressure to recruit new participants to replace dropouts. You are also caught in a money trap of hyper consumption. Unlike franchises, business startups, or sales of existing businesses, you can start an MLM business with very little capital. MLMs typically bleed new recruits of their funds by inducing them to buy products on a subscription basis to pay for ongoing training and otherwise draining them of their resources until they run out of money or give up. Fear of loss of potential income by not recruiting aggressively is a great motivator. If MLM participants understood what is happening to them, they would fear accumulating further losses by continuing to invest in the MLM. You will belong to a great support team. In MLM, you will have a whole network of people willing to help you succeed and be your friends. Some MLMs operate like a cult with an us versus them mentality. I would say they all do. Watch how quickly the team ostracizes you when you quit or discover contrary information about the legitimacy of the program. You'll be offering people you care about the very best products available for promoting their health and well-being. No matter how high the quality of the products, investment in products for which you do not have orders in hand becomes a cleverly disguised means of laundering investments in a product-based pyramid scheme. Our products are unique and consumable, perfect for repeat business. MLM products are typically potions and lotions. The secret formulas are a cover for the fact that they are priced too high to compete in standard markets. Products are less expensive through MLM because you cut out the middleman. MLM creates thousands of middlemen with few real customers outside a bloated network of distributors, agents, consultants, demonstrators, etc. And typically they are very expensive, not competitively priced. Build your business by duplication. Buy 5 of these business in a box packages now. Sell them to 5 people and ask each to do the same, etc. Be a product of the products by signing up for monthly shipment to these items. Soon you'll be reaping huge commission checks. This is how recruiting MLMs earn fortunes for their top recruiters. Commissions from initial and ongoing purchases by new distributors in hopes of profiting is the lifeblood of their business. This promised rewards never come except to those who recruit their way to the top of the pyramid of participants. Take away inducements for participant purchases, and these companies would fall like a house of cards. Our tools for success are unbeatable. Sign up for our seminars and conferences and buy our books and tapes to ensure your success in this business. In at least one major MLM, the tool business is a pyramid within a pyramid. Hardly anyone makes money selling products, so a lucrative source of income for those at the top is the sale of the success tools to supposedly assure the success of their downline, who are in fact only further victimized when they buy these motivational items. MLM is like insurance, investing, inventing, acting, and writing. In that hard work at the outset yields residual income for the rest of your life. This is done by leveraging the efforts of your downline so you can retire early, travel, etc. MLM is more like gambling than legitimate residual income. It appeals to the something for nothing mentality. MLM addiction has been observed in some true believers. The large residual incomes reported are more the result of time of entry and willingness to deceive prospective recruits than of payoff for hard work. To succeed in MLM, one must leverage one's deceptive recruiting through others who can be persuaded to do the same. Some very reputable people are involved in MLM. This credibility argument is used with many scams. Notables can be bought. Think about the influencers right now. A lot of them that are promoting different altcoins and shit. Think they're not getting something for that? Some MLM companies invest in very worthy and viable causes. The mafia supported local charities. And because a bank robber donates some of his take to charity, does that excuse the robbery? You'll be helping your friends and family by recruiting them into your downline. For potential personal gain, you're exploiting those you care about the most. In other words, you are squandering your social capital. Then we have the red flags, and I'm losing my voice. But I do want to share this with you. As of 2008, these are the companies that John Taylor had examined the compensation plans. And some of these companies still exist, some of them do not. And MLM companies, they like to just say, like, this is obsolete. It's not obsolete data. It's just that there's new companies in place of the ones that are no longer with us. The data is the data. If John were alive today and was still studying these, do you think that the outcome would be any different? Because I certainly don't. But I think it's very impressive that he did all of this work, and my hat is off to him. And there's just still, I mean, I swear, it's like, you know, you sneeze and boom, there's another MLM. It's frightening. And it's up to us to have the guts, the gumption, and willingness to tell our stories and to put a stop to it. But we got to get loud. We're not going to do it by sitting laughing at Hunbots going, oh, look how awful they are. Oh my gosh, look at that scammer, that stay-at-home mom. She's a scammer. We're not going to do it like that. We're only going to do it when we take action and we start letting our legislators know that we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore. That is how we're going to do it. You know, but we got to pull together. And that's the thing. The DSA, I mean, they're organized. They've got money. We don't have money to fight against this. And we're not organized. We don't have a central, place that we all come together. I mean, we're all meeting right now and everything, and that is great and fabulous. And then we can reach out to our social media networks and, get messages out. But, they've been around for a long time. They have deep pockets and they have lots of lawyers and all kinds of people. We're all volunteering our time to do this because we're advocating for the consumers. We're advocating for you, and we're advocating for other people so that people know this is not a good idea. And all the crappy comments that I get, and believe me, I get a lot of them of just these crappy people. And I don't want to say they're not crappy people. Let me take that back. Crap is being done to them. They believe crappy people, but some of them might be those at the top. I don't know, but they leave just like the most horrific comments sometimes. And you know what? I don't got time for that. I am not here to argue with anyone who is pro MLM and be like, let me bring you to this side. It is up to the individual to be able to wake up and see this for what it is. It's just like in a bad relationship. When somebody goes out with a jerk or they're married to a jerk and they can't see it or they refuse to see it, it's the same thing. When people are ready, if they are ever ready, they will see it. Otherwise, and like John said, addicted to it, because those people who have been in multiple MLMs over and over, they keep on going through it. And it's hurting them, but they keep believing. Just like people who stay in those bad relationships. And they keep on saying it, it's like very, very similar. They have got to be able to see it and be like, okay, I have to step away. They have got to be able to wake up to see it. And that, I don't mean that to sound like victim blaming, and I don't want somebody to think like, oh, you're blaming the victim. It's not that at all. Yes, rose-colored glasses and blinders, all of that, when you just can't see it for what it really is. And the thing is that, I mean, you've seen all of the glitz and everything that all of these companies, their conferences, the different things they do. They do very, high-end type, ads and all of that in terms of like, for the distributors, like when they're doing their little like commercially type things. And they put a lot into that, and it sounds good. And it goes back to the old adage, if it sounds too good, it probably is. But we forget that sometimes, we really do forget that sometimes it's just not really what we think it is. We want to believe because, it just sounds so good. But it's not. It's actually going to harm you. And that's the thing, is that you just can't believe that these people who they're telling these stories, that they sound so real and genuine. And you relate to them because maybe they're from like the same state, or they have a similar background. There's something about them that they sound good, and they dress the part, they look good. And just like they couldn't possibly be standing there and just lying. But yet that's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing. If you've never seen the movie, it's called House of Game. And it was made in the 80s. It's an older movie, but it's a really, really good movie. It's about a psychologist or psychiatrist, one of those. Anyway, studies the mind. I can't remember which one she was. Anyway, she starts studying this group of con men. And they take her on these like little capers of these like cons that they're running and stuff. And so she's like documenting stuff. Well, at the end of the movie, so I mean TLDR, it ends up she was being played the entire time. She was never part of the gang. They were all playing her. But it's a great movie because that's what's happening in these MLMs. Everybody is being played by these con artists who look like, they sound like, I believe them. She looks so sweet. Look at her. Oh, he seems great. That's what they want to disarm you so that you think that they care and that you think they are your friend. They're not your friend. They don't give a shit about you. All they care about is their bank account, and that's it. That's the bottom line. And it's sad and it's frustrating because I watch them and it's like, really, there's this many people walking or strutting around like roosters that are just bald face lying. And the answer is yes, there are. And it's unfortunate, but they are. That's why we got to get noisy. Got to get noisy. Laura, you recognized you were brainwashed. I'm so glad that you did. Oh my gosh. Okay, Dave, let me put my glasses on. Let's see. Seeing MLMs invest in areas of Kenya only to move in a decade later when the benefits of expanding schooling and daily nutrition supplements to all of that has been gained is inhumane. Absolutely. And that's the thing that I find, like, especially as I've looked into I Am Academy and it's stinking Ivan Tapia. I just want to like just bitch slap him into a different century. That putz. Taking advantage, it's, affinity fraud, taking advantage of his people in Latin America and getting them to buy into this idea. And same thing with David Imanidi, however you say his last name, who's from Nigeria, doing the same thing there. All of these people taking advantage of others who live somewhere where, there's not as many opportunities as there are like here in the US. And when you're feeding on people who barely have anything, that is just criminal. And you're a terrible human being. You're the worst of the worst. Now, I am looking forward to see, as we continue to uncover stuff that's happened with OneCoin, and I will get back to my OneCoin Notorious series eventually, because I find revealing the stories of these top people to be, I don't know, eye-opening to me. But what I like being able to connect who they know and where they came from. Because when you do that, you start seeing those patterns. It's like, well, oh, no wonder they left and went there, because they were in this one and now they're over here. And that person was, you start seeing how they're all interrelated. They're all, drinking out of the same trough, and talking to each other. That's the bottom line. They all know each other and they all help each other out. And then what they're doing is they're finding, like Alex Morton, finding these young kids, the next generation of scammers, to pump them up and make them look like, oh, well, you got to talk to this guy. You got to listen to him. And these young kids are listening to somebody 21, 24, thinking, oh, he's the shiz. And they don't know anything. They're wet behind the ears still. But what they have done is sort of just repeating the same bullshit. All the law of attraction crap. You got to get your mindset, not the same crap. But it's the next generation that we will be hearing about unless we put a kibosh on it. We got to put a kibosh. Yes, they do understand the big lie, because that's all this is. It's such a huge lie. And it's unbelievable to think that people would coordinate this type of effort to deceive people. And yet they do. They absolutely do. I think of the Steinkiller brothers, who were part of OneCoin. They had the biggest team, the One Dream team. And they're now in Latin America. They're from Italy originally, and they're connected to a crime family. Allegedly. Don't come at me. And they now have Planet Impact, where they're saving the world with their, MLM or Ponzi scheme or whatever the hell it is, because I can't remember off the top of my head. Just going from one to another. Igor E. Alberts, same thing. OneCoin now, Dadcoin, doing the same thing. Now, somebody sent me, remember I mentioned the growth conference from Business for Home. It was a 3-day conference. Somebody attended that conference and woke up. And I have access to those videos. So I'm thinking next week we can choose some to look at and kind of react to, respond to, because I want you to see these people. These are the scammers. It's not the stay-at-home moms. It's not. I don't care how many people put scammer on their thumbnails and react. Those are not the scammers. It's these other people who, as they said, they understand the big lie. They know what the big lie is. They got it, and they got it down. They're willing to stand up there and lie to you and take your last dollar. That's what they will do. And they're doing it. People are the frog in the hot water, just being boiled alive, going, here you go. Those are the ones causing it. So I think that's what we're going to do, is look at some of that stuff. Now, the following week, we move on the 7th. Touch wood, where, I'll just touch wood. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a live stream that Friday. I don't know how much of my office will be set up. And if it is set up, the audio may be less than stellar, because I may not have like foam put up and crap. And so people are just going to have to, get over that, because it is going to be like, it is what it is. It's like, what I have for now as I'm settling into our new home. So yeah, that's what we got. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you always for your continued support, for watching my videos, for being here on my live streams, for, commenting and being supportive. If you're one of my patrons, you have no idea how much that means to me, or one of my channel members. Thank you so very much for that. I really, really appreciate it. It does help me so very much. And once I get moved, again, touch wood, the plan is to get a new computer, because this laptop that I have, let me tell you, I cannot tell you, beyond the brink, I've pushed this little sucker, because it's not meant to do everything that I ask it to do at all. And it's like, sometimes I just want to throw this sucker right on off the balcony. But I'm like, nope, I need it, so I can't do that. But it frustrates me. And I've had to just like deal with that as we're, getting the house, because I couldn't go out and make a big purchase, because I'm planning on getting an Apple again, because this little thing, I need something. I need to be fancy with it. Anyway, I'm going to get down on the go-go. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you next time. I will see if I'll probably put in, for my patrons, I'll put a list of the people for the videos. I'll do that for my channel members as well, of like, who would you be interested in me, like, of us watching that video. And if I don't have an opportunity to be able to do recorded videos as I'm, kind of getting set up in my new home, I might do a few more live streams so I stay in touch with you guys, because that is important to me. And as things come up, because who knows what's going to happen between now and then. Anyway, thank you so very much. Remember, you're beautiful, and I love you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.